Okay, so we talked in our last section about how these judges are judges for life, right? For the rest of their lives. I think there's actually an impeachment process, but very rarely used. Just like presidential impeachment, almost never works. So how do these people get nominated and confirmed, right? If they're going to be in there for the rest of their lives, how do they get the job? And when when there is an opening in the Supreme Court, the president nominates someone. Then the Judicial Committee in the Senate has a hearing. They question this person, and then the Judicial Committee in the Senate has a vote, and then it goes to the full Senate for a full 100 vote. Now, historically, this has been a spot where the filibuster comes into play. You would need 60 votes to elect a Supreme Court justice, oftentimes. And it made it so that there wouldn't be any controversial Supreme Court justices. This all kind of started in the 80s with a guy named Bjork, I think. And he was nominated by Reagan. He was very extreme. The Democrats didn't like him. They worked hard against him. And Reagan changed and put someone else in. Um, so what there almost was never any fighting against the president's pick for Supreme Court justice until the 80s when Bjork was shot down by the Democrats. They said, we filibuster. The Republicans didn't have the 60 votes. They forced the Republicans to put someone up who was less extreme, more in the middle, although still to the right. And then since then, the Supreme Court picks have become more contentious. There's been more fighting. We saw great fighting over Clarence Thomas. There was some fighting into the Bush the second years. He at one point I think selected someone who the Democrats disagreed with, based on just like kind of lack of experience, not necessarily extreme views. And then the Republicans then put someone else up, and then during Obama's years, he kind of he had an opening, and in his last year, the Senate refused to just show it, to even give it a vote. And then when McConnell took over, when Trump took over in 2016, they eliminated the filibuster for judicial Supreme Court picks, meaning that all you needed was 51 votes now, or even 50, right? With the vice president coming in and being that deciding vote. During Trump's 4 years, he picked 3 Supreme Court justices. Each time, it would have been filibustered, had it not been for McConnell eliminating the filibuster. It was a 50-50 split for the first one, Neil Gorsuch, and then the vice president came in and made his pick. Kavanaugh, who you see in this picture here, only got 51 votes. And then when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died in August, they pushed Amy Coney Barrett through in a really quick hearing. And she also, I think, got 51 votes. So what was once kind of a less contentious thing, the event, the choosing of a Supreme Court, has become very contentious over the last, call it, few decades, okay, 2, 3 decades, maybe starting with Reagan in the 80s, 4 decades ago. And now there is no filibuster. So when Biden gets his turn, if any of these justices retire or die, he will not have to deal with a filibuster, although right now he'll be dealing with a Republican Senate, so he'll probably, in that case, have to pick someone who's more in the middle, instead of someone who's kind of an ideological extremist, like maybe Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch are, depending on your opinion, or maybe someone who's not so young. Amy Coney Barrett's like my age, she's 48, she's a few years older than me. She has a lot of years in there, 40 years as Supreme Court justice, versus someone like Merrick Garland, who Obama picked as his third pick that didn't get heard, who was in his 60s, only 20 years. So these are all taken into consideration. And of course, we know that there's runoffs right now in